Right, people, really excited about this one. Welcome to the Born to Fly podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube or listening on iTunes and Spotify and all those good other things on your commute, on a good drive, we have arguably the number one content creator on planet Earth when it comes to skipping. It's Lauren Jumps, guys.
Hello.
Fake claps. Yeah. All right, cool. We're gonna keep it raw. Lauren doesn't know what questions I'm gonna ask. We've also got a little Insta thing going on in the background, where people will be hopefully asking some cool questions to you. And just want to say thank you for coming on. And welcome to the RAHQ, man. How do you feel?
Yeah, good. It's nice to be here. Yeah. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It's been a long time coming. So me and Lauren and I we started talking about doing a link up, about a year ago?
Yeah.
About a year ago, guys. And I think what I want to do with this is I've got so many things I want to ask you, right? I've got so many, I don't know how deep we can go in an hour. I'm gonna try and keep this to an hour as well. So if you're watching this, she's at the HQ. I'm really excited. What's kind of the first impression, or what was the impressions you had before coming here? What did you think about RA?
I've just always thought it's obviously you've done amazing with it. Like, it's a really highly respected brand. Anyone who supports you like massively. Like,
thank you, man.
Everyone's...
We did a big cleanup job. So the reason why I just asked you that question is because we did a massive cleanup job for you. Hopefully it looks tidy.
It looks, yes.
If you're listening, it was a mess yesterday. We couldn't walk, but now we made a bit of space and we've just snuck her in here for this podcast. No, but I appreciate that. I want to actually give that back to you, because what you've done in the last, what is it now, 2 years? Nearly over 2 years now.
Yeah, it's just over 2 years.
Two and a half years, guys. And if there is anyone that doesn't have Wi-Fi, and again, lives in a cave and doesn't know nothing about Lauren's story, we will get into it. But what you've done in 2 years, you're at now, what, 1.1 mil?
Yeah, 1.1. And then TikTok 720,000.
And then a bit of YouTube. Like, you're nearly at 2 mil across all platforms.
Yeah, not far off.
2 million is crazy. I think there's about 10 million people in London. So it's but 2 million in 2 years, 2.5 years, is phenomenal. Like, you should be really proud of what you've done.
Thank you.
And what you've done for the game of skipping. And I'm a true believer, like this what I've been talking about for years and years, is that this is so powerful, and yet there's still more people to reach, right? But someone like you who's burst on the scene has done wonders for this kind of sport, this activity. Tell me about kind of pre-skipping Lauren. Like, what were you like? What was life like? What were you doing?
So I've always been in sales jobs, well, for a long time.
Yeah.
So my last job before all this happened was selling business supplies.
Okay.
So I was basically, going.
Was it office job?
It was
or on the go?
On the road a lot. So I was account manager. So I had a number of customers, all types of businesses, hotels, offices, like law firms, all sorts, really.
Yeah.
Across all industries, and they were buying daily from us all their supplies to keep their business running.
Okay. Were you enjoying it?
So, you know what? I didn't hate it. It was nice because I was out on the road all the time. I was always meeting different people.
Right.
I got to work. It's flexible, so when I wasn't on the road, I could work from home.
Yep.
I only need to be in the office a little bit. I quite liked that. Obviously, it was difficult. There are lots of targets to be met, and things like that, and it had its stresses.
What were you like as a person? That's what I want to know. Like, we want to try and get to where you are now as a person. But what were you like as a person? Like, were you into social media? Were you into, obviously, gym, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so I've been into the gym for a long time. Like, I've been going to the gym. I've been weightlifting for probably 8 years now.
Oh,
so
wow.
Probably before I started skipping, I'd been doing it for 6 years at least.
Yeah.
And so I was going to the gym 4 or 5 days a week.
So you're quite active, yeah?
Quite active.
So you're squeezing this in with your full-time job.
Yeah.
And then...
And I was I'm quite a party girl, quite sociable. So our weekends are often quite busy. I like to go out. I like doing that with friends and stuff. So I was always doing that. That
was it. And then I guess at that moment in time, did you ever have social media? Were you ever doing anything to do with lifting or...
There was probably when I was, 22, I'm 30 now. I think I shared a little bit on my Instagram page at the time. That's when it was all photos. And I shared a little bit, but to be honest, after like just a couple of posts, I didn't enjoy it, and I don't know why I was doing it really.
Okay, got you. But you're doing it for fun, right?
Yeah, doing it for fun. Yeah,
yeah,
and probably to hold myself accountable a bit, share some of my progress with things. But actually, I just never kept that up anyway. I never really got into social media, so I actually, but when this all happened, I wasn't even sharing much on social media. So years ago, I used to be the kind of person that would take a camera everywhere.
Yeah.
Like at a nightclub, I'd take like 60
right.
photos. One of them.
You're that girl, yeah. And then
Facebook.
share it on Facebook. Yeah, big album. Oceana, Watford.
And then, but I suddenly, obviously, I grew out of that at some point.
Yeah.
By the time I started this, like when I was 28, I was actually really private. Like I took loads of photos and stuff, but I just kept them to myself. Like it's just for me. Like I didn't share loads of stuff on social media.
Crazy. I mean, if you're watching, or listening, whatever you're doing, right? What I find incredible is like your story starts at lockdown, and I'm fascinated on, one, what got you into skipping, two, what kind of kept you motivated, and three, how did Lauren Jumps explode? So we'll come through those topics in a minute. But so now we're in lockdown. You've got this full-time job.
Yeah.
You've got this kind of cool, fun life going on. What happened in lockdown, and what was the spark to start skipping?
So there were a few things that just everything started actually going a bit wrong in my life. Like,
okay.
So I was meant to get married on the 2nd of April, I think was the original date, which was Good Friday.
2020.
Yeah, 2020. Yep. And there was a few things. I think the first, obviously, the UK was quite late to react to COVID. Do you remember?
Yeah, of course.
It was.
We
were just sort of
just
burying our heads
we'll
in
just
the sand, like we're fine.
Yeah, this is just a cold.
Yeah.
This is sniffles. Okay.
So obviously, but my friend, one of my bridesmaids, she was meant to be flying over from Canada to be my bridesmaid. And I think about. Oh no, that was it. The first thing that went wrong was my hen do.
Yeah.
That was meant to be in Prague, and Prague was off. Suddenly we couldn't go Prague, so I was like, oh well, that's
getting serious.
Off. Yeah. Then my friend from Canada was like, I can't come over I might get stranded there, or basically here they're advising don't travel at all.
Yeah.
So
oh man.
Then so I was like, okay, I'm not going to get my hen do, and all my bridesmaids won't be there, but at least I'm going to have my wedding day. And then literally it was like it just kept getting closer, and everything was
shutting down.
And it was just like, this isn't going to happen. And actually, because I actually made a call, it would have been cancelled anyway, but I think a couple of weeks before the wedding I just said, I'm going to speak to the venue and say I don't want it to go ahead, because if it goes ahead at the moment as it is, or it's just going to be stressing me out. Like I need to know. Yeah. I'd rather just cancel it. So ended up cancelling it, but it would have been cancelled anyway.
Yeah. So wedding off, no friends out, no hen do.
Then then work were like, we're putting everyone on furlough.
Yeah.
So I was like, literally was meant to be my year kind of thing.
That must be tough.
Which I know, look, don't get me wrong, people had it worse.
Yeah.
I always say that, like I never, but in my little world, my little bubble, it was bad for me, because I thought everything was going so well, and then it was just like taken away like that. And I basically for 2 weeks I was like just doing DIY around the house. Yeah. Got really bored, and I'd remembered, I don't know are you familiar with Jimmy Says Relax?
Yeah.
I'd seen some of his content on my Explore page, and he was doing all the releases and crazy stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. There's also another woman called Carmel Rodriguez who I followed for years from the fitness side. Yeah. And she does footwork mixes that in with all her training. So I was like, the footwork's kind of cool as well. And so I'd already had that on my radar, and then I saw Jimmy Says Relax, and I was like, okay, this is all really cool. I'm just going to buy a rope. So I didn't even look at what rope I was buying. I bought a random rope. Yeah. And thought, I'll just give it a go and see. And then that was it. Like I didn't think there was this whole big community actually beyond that. Right. Because even Carmel Rodriguez, who was the first person who really introduced me to it, her page isn't just about skipping, and she isn't like,
she's more gym, right? Yeah, more gym and like workouts and
like mobility and really cool moves and stuff. But so I was just like, I'll just find search
something.
YouTube and just do some random tutorials. I didn't realise there was this whole world, but it was when I got my rope and then I started searching hashtag jump rope, hashtag skipping.
Yeah.
I came across this whole world. And I was like, okay, this is
Little
actually kind of
underground
cool.
world, man. That's out there. Like it.
But I was like, I want to tap into this, but there's no way I'm sharing this on my personal account.
Yeah.
So I just created a separate account purely just to tap into this little world.
Yeah.
And because everyone was sharing tips, and I saw this little like familiar names across all these different people were communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And as soon as I set up this account, I went through following everyone and then started sharing my
Little
videos.
Journey.
And people were like really supportive, and I would lean my phone. I'd use the front camera, so the quality wasn't even great. And I'd lean it, and I didn't even wipe it. Like,
yeah, no, I remember those days.
And I'd like lean it against a paint can, and it wasn't about looking good.
Yeah.
It wasn't about even sharing something that I wasn't thinking this will inspire people. I was just thinking I want to share this so that people can help me.
Yeah.
And so that I can actually hold myself a bit accountable and actually see my progress and have a way of tracking it. It's quite nice.
I like the fact that you just like did it like for yourself. Like you didn't have like an end goal, or you didn't have this like, oh, I'm going to get this 2 million and I'm going to...
No, never.
Yeah, it's like purely out of...
But I think that's why... I actually think that's why it works.
Yeah.
So why it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially in the early days, I think when you don't have... You can't really fake it until you make it. You can't make out like, oh, I'm going to speak to everyone like they're following me because they care. Because I don't have many followers. I don't have any followers. So I'm not going to rock up and be like, oh, you're really interested in this is what I'm doing. That's what
some people
today.
do. I think that's what
people do.
I think some people that are trying to get big followings.
Yeah.
They like try and beg it with a lot of people as much as possible, get the following, get like the engagement, and then it's like, oh, I'm big now, or I'm something else.
And I can understand it. People see people, they see influencers and they want to be like that. So that's their initial goal, but then it does end up coming through. Yeah. And I just didn't, obviously there was a turning point for sure. And I was like, hold on a minute, I'm actually going to start thinking about what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
But at the start, it genuinely was just
out of fun, learning, got a new skill.
And also everyone was in lockdown, and it was actually quite nice to speak to people.
Yeah.
And like have this, although everyone was in different countries, everyone was in the same rubbish situation.
Yeah.
And kind of just like you go on and people share stories like, what's everyone, they tag you and stuff, and like, what's everyone learning today? What are you going to try? And it's just nice.
Yeah. Do you think there was like a turning point when you were like, was it like a following amount that you hit, or was it a comment, or when did you think that you could this could be your full-time thing?
I think I hit around 5,000 followers. I can't remember how early that was. Maybe, must have been like maybe 2-3 months in.
That's really quick as well.
Yeah. And I don't know how, I don't really know how.
Yeah.
And then, because it's not like I was amazing, like I wasn't very good back then. But obviously, I suppose I was maybe good enough for, I don't know, if people maybe saw it was a typical English garden, I was just pissing about in my garden kind of thing. And everyone was in lockdown. Maybe people could, relate to that. But Women's Health asked if they could share one of my posts on their Instagram.
That's wicked.
And then after that point, I reached 10k really quickly as well. Yeah. So I think that was the moment, because I was like, hold on, like people are actually interested in sharing my content with people.
I feel like you started, I mean, you might have got inspiration from other people. I feel like you started a whole new trend, or not even trend. It's like you created a whole new wave of style in skipping. What we like to call it, what do you call it? Dance rope?
Yeah.
I've heard people call it dance rope, or
I suppose there is.
Shuffle.
I think other people were kind of doing it. Like I wouldn't like to say that I was like, because Jimmy was doing footwork like that as well, and I'd seen and Tori Boggs and stuff. She was doing some of it, but I think I was and like Jump Rope Sisters as well. I think I was very much into. I go to like music festivals and stuff, so I'd always seen shuffling. I've never been able to shuffle, and I never could before I did skipping. Yeah. Even now, I don't do it without a rope because it feels a bit weird. I'm like, what do I do with my hands?
Where's my rope?
Yeah. But I think nowadays, like even there was quite early on, I got very into the footwork, and that was kind of the thing I really enjoyed, and like how I'd do it on the beat of the music, and that was.
I think that's what it is, though. I think the music side of it came through. Like, when I first came across you, and then I saw the music and I saw what you're doing, then learning so many different tricks in like such a short period of time, that's what kind of drew me to you, because I was like, it's so difficult to learn so much. And I know it was lockdown and everyone had a lot of time on their hands, but you were, I feel like you were given a bit of different flavour than what was out there.
Yeah, and there's still only so much you can actually do, isn't there? Like, as much as I did have lockdown to learn, like, you can't skip for hours on end without hurting yourself. So it's like, realistically, I guess if I probably wouldn't have ever done it without lockdown, because I wouldn't have replaced my weight sessions, which was the time I might have spent doing skipping. But I was into that. But I had lockdown I had time to do it, didn't I?
We had a bit of time. Did you? So you said the spark. So you had a bit of like a push with women's health.
Yeah.
Then what then was the thing that kind of, because what I'm thinking is, so were you on furlough at the time, or did you get laid off?
So I was on furlough for 3 months, and then they brought a couple of us, because my account base, I think, was doing okay, and I think I was doing all right with it.
Yeah.
I was one of the early ones to come back, so they brought me back like part-time furlough. I don't know if you remember all the things.
I think so.
Go through.
Yeah. I can't remember.
And so I was working mornings only. So I would literally work mornings, and then I'd have the afternoon. That was quite good, really. Yeah. And that worked back then with the amount of social media I was doing and everything. That was fine. And I was working from home, obviously. Mm-hmm. So, and then it was back at the end of 2020 that they wanted me back full time, and that's when I made that decision to go. What
made you sort of be like, no, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm gonna do this skipping thing, and like, was it still a bit random for you? Did you already have a kind of game plan and be like, I'm gonna get brand deals, or I'm gonna do
got
things
to
with
a
ropes?
point where suddenly I think it was the end of 2020, so like I started in April, so what is that, 8 months into it, that I'd started my rope sales as well. Like, obviously I had the collaboration with Dope Ropes. Yep. Sorry if that's a swear word.
It's a swear. No swear words allowed here. No, we're all good, man. We can mention all of them. Yeah,
you can beat that out.
You can. No. It's all blessed, man. Big up Dope Ropes if you're watching this, man. Thanks for joining in. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's all good, man. We keep it. We're all about skipping here.
That was, that worked out really well. I was one of the first affiliates with them. And
you're obviously doing incredible things.
That was success. Well. That was working. I had I think at the end of 2020 I had like 100. I'd hit 100k.
Wow.
And I had my first approaches from brands as well, like Lululemon wanted to work on me with a campaign going into the new year. And
so that made it easier for you to be like, I can't be doing this.
It was a gamble, but then also my company had been throughout 2020, they'd gone into liquidation, and they got bought out and taken over by someone else. So there was a lot of changes, and I also knew they were going to do another round of redundancies and get rid of some more people. So there was kind of like, I was like, I think I'm going to leave eventually. Yeah, it wasn't the same, and I was like, I think I'm going to leave. It'd be a bit of a piss take to actually stay as well and then leave in a month when someone has been made redundant, you know? And it saved, I know that actually in the end they were going to make one person redundant from my team, and they ended up not having to. So that's just saved that. So there was a lot of things as well that just made it easier. Because I think
that's what you sort of need as well sometimes, isn't it? That little push.
Because actually, if I just carried on, I think even working part-time as I was, just mornings, I think it was stopping me from really throwing myself
going in hard,
One thing that was a massive... I think one thing that really helped me grow, and so much kind of before other people in lockdown, as soon as Reels came about on Instagram, I was on it.
You was on it, yeah.
And I remember when Reels started, I mean, now it's so saturated, but when I started on there was hardly anyone using them. People were just confused, kind of like, what is the point? And what I started doing was because you could put Reels in the background, you didn't have to put you don't have to put them on your grid. So what I'd do is I'd go back on old posts.
That's so smart.
And I was putting old posts on as Reels in the background, because I noticed Instagram was pushing them a bit. Yeah. Because obviously it was a new feature. And then did
you learn this all by yourself, or this like kind of way of social media and just like, that's incredible.
And I was kind of like, what's the harm as well? I was like, and you can only do 15 seconds back then. Some of my posts didn't work, and some of them because they were too long. And I mean, now I'm like, none of my posts are 15 seconds even. But back then it was like long. Everyone was longer with their content.
Were you editing your stuff as well back then? Everything.
Yeah,
Do you still edit?
I still do all my edits.
That's incredible. How much time would you say you put into social media now?
It's really difficult
I know we're jumping ahead a bit,
to work out.
Yeah.
I think.
What's your screen time?
Oh God, don't ask me that question.
7 hours? I bet it's about.
Oh, it's more than that.
Is it more than that? Mine's probably about 6 or 7 hours.
Double figures.
What, a day?
Yeah.
No,
yeah, a day. Yeah, it would be a day. Yeah, some days.
Yeah. I've got Nathan in the background. Nathan, how do you quickly check your screen time? We'll get it done in a minute.
Shall I check my screen time?
We'll get it done. Yeah, we'll get it done.
Do you want me to find out? Actually, my screen time. My screen time's probably lower now because I was in Spain last week, wasn't I?
Yeah. We'll figure it out. We'll do a little screen time check. I've got Nathan here checking it. Instagram activity. All right, let's see. All right, we're just doing it right now, guys. If you're listening, we're gonna do
Instagram. Might not
Instagram.
Be as
your
high,
activity.
Though,
No, so we want to do the phone. We want to do phone screen time. That's more fun. All right, no. We don't know.
Where is it?
All right, we're just checking.
Is it general?
Maybe if you type in the search screen time. Oh, here you go. Type in screen time in the search bar top. Yeah, got it. All right. I'm at average of 6 hours 48. No, it's actually jumped. It's about 7 hours. Where are we at?
10 hours 28.
That's all right.
It's obviously
that's insane.
I've only been back. I've been back less than a week though.
10 hours.
So Monday, my first day back, kind of to work.
I mean, I know there's
14 hours.
No.
But that wasn't on Instagram. Instagram is.
Yeah, so obviously you're browsing. You might be like looking at other things. You might be watching some stuff on YouTube. Blah blah blah.
So Instagram on Monday was 3 hours.
I tell you what. I tell you what though, that's the kind of stuff you got to do, right? You got to put in the work. You got to engage with people, and I feel like actually me, like the way I've operated now in the last few years was never. It's never been the same as when I first started. Like I was constantly checking things. I was checking my hashtags. I was trying to get back to as many people, DMs, and apologies if anyone DMs me. Like I'm really crap. Like I'm really bad at them now because I've just got too many things. So I mean, it's acceptable, man. But 14 hours. Is
I think, but that's obviously that's over everything. I do all my edits on my phone.
Yes, obviously you're just on the phone.
So it's everything, and there's stuff on. I WhatsApp my agency, so a lot of, and I've got all my phone calls with them as well.
You're a hustler, man. True hustler. This is the kind of stuff you need to do, man. Hopefully you wear those blue light glasses, to save your eyes. No? All right. I'll send you a link after this, man. Got a good brand. But it's impressive, man. Like, so you're, now we're kind of going through the story now. So now you've finished, you're done with work. Do you remember what those sort of first few weeks, days felt like when you finished work? Because I had the same sort of experiences, and I just want to know if it was like similar. Like, were you scared? Were you like, shit? Like, what have I done? Or were you like, okay? You know what?
I one thing I've never really been able to. I think the thing that I stress about is the feeling, like, because when you're working for a company, you have a very set thing you've got to do. You've got deliverables, and you just know if you're doing that,
bit of structure in that,
and there's a bit of structure.
Yeah.
I find it very difficult. I feel guilty a lot when I'm like, since I left that job and did this, I'm always like, I've got to be busy, right. even if things have quietened down. I'm thinking, oh, like, what about the future? Or even if things are great, it's like, and I could step back and chill.
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Yeah. I like that.
I think you need
to have that.
I'm getting better, but there is that, and it's that is quite consuming, and I'm not very good at switching off. I need to improve that.
Do you feel like when you wake up, you know exactly what you're going to do that day, or do you just wing it?
I wing it a lot. Sometimes I'm organised. The days when I am when the night before, I actually sit down and write a bit of a schedule.
Oh, wicked.
I have a good day, and when I don't do that, it's very noticeable.
What's kind of like what's a kind of typical looking schedule? So
in the morning, like, go on Instagram. Maybe I would try and spend, because I obviously try and find trending audios, trends, and relate them. So TikTok and Instagram, have a browse, and actually I go through those, not from like obviously it's enjoyable to go through and look, but actually I'm looking at sounds. I'm looking at Instagram, seeing what sounds are trending. Figuring out the BPM, so beats per minute for the song and things, see if it can work with, obviously I have a bit of an ear and I can work it out. I'm like, oh, that could work. Sometimes it doesn't. Obviously I'm trying at the moment to do my jump sessions earlier, because I feel like they do set me up. Like when I've jumped and I've got good content in the bag, I feel really good about it, and it's like that's then sets me up for a good day. So sometimes if I leave that late, I can be a bit unproductive until that point.
I like that, actually. I might have to take that tip on board. I tend to like be not so much of a morning person with I do admin and and then I'm just like I'll do my video later.
Like naturally I'd go to the gym. I like going to the gym in the evening. That's always been when I go to the gym. So my exercise, and actually I struggled a lot when the light start, days get shorter and stuff. I'm like, oh god, I've only got. Winter's
a problem, isn't it? When because you're an outdoor person, like as in terms of your content, like
exactly.
Like I am.
So then you're like worrying about light, and actually it gets dark. It's too dark really. Sometimes at like 3 o'clock, like it's starting to get dark. So really you have to be out by like midday. But I can see myself at the moment, like I did an evening session the other day. I can see myself slipping back into old habits, but it's not good, because actually what happens is the evening is when I need to be chilling. I don't really want to be outside as much as it used to be that skiffing was just a hobby. If it was just a hobby, that might be fine. But really now you're thinking
about lighting, you're thinking about everything and edits.
Much.
And so when you've done your edits, or let's say you've done your content, do you edit straight away, or do you just take a little break and then?
So I am often quite excited about what I've recorded, and then I like to look at it and just I'd get the music on it, sync it up, see what it looks like, and then I sometimes start doing the edit then and there, but this is where I get quite
picky.
Just like disorganized, because really that edit isn't important right now. Like I could. So I sometimes, I'm like, because I really enjoy editing and I love it. I love, obviously that's what we do. We create content, and that's, so if you like that, then you. So I could get really. I'm really excited about what I've just created, and I want to edit it.
Yeah.
But really, I should be focusing on something else I need to
I'm exactly the same
in that moment.
I'm literally the same. Like sometimes I get involved in an edit that is really not important, but I'm like, this is so sick, or it could be sick, or I just enjoyed just doing it.
And one thing,
actually I need to be paying this bill and I need to pay this like
parking
ticket or something.
People often ask me do I record my content in advance? Well, no, because firstly, the trends, they come and go, and a song that's fresh and current, you want to just get it done and out there. And then secondly, I'd spend if I've got loads of stuff that I'm not sharing for a few days, it's just too long. I'll end up spending too long on it, looking at it, and perfecting it. Like it's actually sometimes just filming something a day and then sharing it the next day. It's better for me, because otherwise I'll end up looking at it too long.
So you don't actually let's say you do like a little batch edit of like three or four songs. Do you do it like that, or do you do one?
So I don't do any content.
Just
really.
one video, one edit,
Yeah. So I go to very occasionally I'll get a couple of things on one day.
Yeah.
And it tends to be if I'm recording. So I normally have like something that I choreograph in the moment, and I spend my session. I pick a song, go into the session, I choreograph something, a routine, and then I film it. And that usually takes me 45 minutes to sort of figure out, and sometimes I'll be practicing something new as well before that. I'll be like, I want to incorporate that, and I'll have to drill it a bit before I put it into the routine. And then I might be like, well, sometimes I do these little footwork tutorials, and they don't take me very long to film. I can literally film that in 2 minutes really.
Right.
So I'll do that sometimes at the same time. But other than that, I wouldn't ever do lots of choreo. Like I know some people will choreograph lots of routines maybe on one day and then film them all the next day. I'm just like, it's actually more authentic to me anyway, because I'm like,
you're in the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I go into my session. I can't be doing outfit changes and all that stuff, so it looks like I've been in something different. It's a different day. I can't be bothered.
It's actually, what's mad about this is that like, and I mean, some of these followers who do watch this podcast and who can sit through this whole hour-long podcast, is that they've seen me over 6 or 7 years now, like, and I'm so disorganized. I'm so blasé. I'm like just in the moment. And I like that, the fact that you kind of like that as well.
Yeah.
Like you just go, you try and learn a move. If something looks nice, you're like, okay, or let me put something together.
Yeah.
The ones that kind of try to plan a lot, and I think that's what gives them a lot of anxiety over social media.
And I think there's a lot of, because I follow, I mean, out of it, obviously because it's interesting to me and I'm in this industry, I follow accounts that give people tips on social media.
Right. Yeah.
I think it can apply to some sectors. Like if you're just selling a product or something, then yeah, go and batch record a load of content and you're just doing trends and stuff. But actually, with doing what we're doing, it's like, it's really hard. You can't just, how can I, like the amount of work and effort that goes into
I like the fact you mentioned
post.
outfit change. I've never even thought about an outfit change.
Yeah, people do.
Nathan's sitting here, man, bro, why are we not thinking about outfit changes when we record?
You're often in similar things. You're often in like your
I just
rush athletics gear anyway.
I'm just like dark
so
hoodies, or I've just got the same look.
Yeah.
I can't be bothered, and I sweat a lot when I do these videos, so I can't be bothered to keep changing. I'd rather just
but I think
stink out one outfit.
I think, to be honest, if someone's going to go down that route, it'd almost be better just to have loads of the same outfit and just always wear the same thing.
I literally just do the same thing.
Because otherwise, the thing is, because I do wear different things all the time.
Yeah.
You'd know if I batch recorded content because, well, I can't bother.
It'd be probably more obvious for someone like you. Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, it's like literally also it's tiring. Like I'll do my hour session and I'll get one piece of content, usually maybe something else small.
Yeah.
It's a lot to, I just couldn't, I'd be drained and the amount of enthusiasm I put into my posts, and I really genuinely, I'm enjoying them, and that's my session. It's still a hobby, as much as it is work. Yeah. It's still a hobby to me. Yeah. So I'm still genuinely filming my session, what I've achieved in that session.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what makes me happy and satisfied.
And then you've got people like sharing a bit of love and enjoying watching it. I mean, what do you think there's a separation like for you when it feels like work? Have you ever felt like waking up and being like, nah, don't really feel it today? Or are you just... Yeah,
there's times as well where it's like I get like a creativity block. Yeah. I think you get it, like it's everyone gets it.
Have you had one?
And I'm like, all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh my god, how do I share like most weeks I share 6 posts.
Yeah,
a week.
You've been relentless.
Yeah, and I've become a lot more chilled now. I'm much more like, if I can't, I just won't, or
It's mad how much you put out.
But I'm like, how am I gonna? Sometimes I start the week, or I look at what I've got, and sometimes I'll have 1 or 2 posts in the bag that I've got to go out, and then I keep stacking them up. But sometimes I'm like, how am I going to come up with
especially because you're not doing this whole batch thing anyway. You're just trying to record in the moment, right?
And also, I know some people just do in other worlds online. People do just, especially on TikTok, people just do trends. And they just copy each other. It's the same content.
It's normal,
and that's easy. Yeah. Or it's quite easy to apply it to tangible product or something. Yeah. But a lot of the content I'm doing is original. Like,
and you're trying to.
And even if I do see someone else in the jump rope community and they've done a really cool choreography, and I decide to do that. Yeah. Obviously I tag them and stuff. But even if I do that, I've still got to learn it. It's still
time to make it.
Will I be able to do it? Will I? And so I go into some weeks and I'm like, where am I going to get this week's post from? Kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. I mean, I wouldn't say I get creativity blocks. I think because you're so methodical in how you post, and like you said, you check trends and you bring up choreography, and it's really like well done. Like I wish I could actually have that kind of level of detail in what I'm posting.
Yeah.
I mean, you should write a book, man. You should teach us how to do social media, to be fair. That's a lot of us. I could learn a lot from
I do often think that. Like I should start selling PDFs.
Oh, mate. People
for how to edit on Video Leap.
It's interesting to know that you actually still edit all your stuff.
Yeah, and on my phone as well.
Yeah. See, that's mad.
I mean, obviously, when I did YouTube, I cancel my subscription at the moment. I use Adobe, but I'll get that back up and running if I start doing my YouTube edits again. Yeah. But YouTube, I think you need to be on a computer, because it's watched on a computer often. Yeah. You need to do it properly, and also like when you export a video on an app on your phone, you can't leave the app. No. So it's not like you can leave something exporting on YouTube. Yeah. If you did a 20-minute video on your phone, your phone would be out of action for half an hour. It's
phenomenal to know that you actually edit your videos. Yeah. I would say the one thing that surprised me already in this conversation is knowing that you do everything. Yeah. Like I would have thought you would have outsourced, or the amount of content you put out. Someone asked me like, does she do her own videos? I would say 100% no. Yeah, like I think she's using it, or she's getting it from someone, and then whatever.
No, and actually that's something that I think no matter what happens, I think I'll always be protective of, because I'm really particular.
Gangster. That's so gangster. It is, man. It's phenomenal because, like, you mentioned the word work. I'm sure it doesn't sort of feel like work.
Yeah.
But you know when you like.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah, because obviously you've got that pressure now this is your full-time gig.
And actually when I am, I do work with brands.
That's what I was just going to get onto, actually.
Yeah. If I am doing an ad for a brand, it's like, sometimes, and I have to, you have to, I know it's a first world problem, but you have to do everything. They brief you, even with clothing stuff, I'm really comfortable with my hair down a lot of time just because it doesn't, I know it sounds mad, but when my hair's in a ponytail or
to get caught,
it gets caught and stuff. So
I know as well
it's actually easier.
I'm learning.
And having a cap, my front bits are short, so if I do wear my hair in a ponytail, it keeps them out of the way.
Yeah.
And if I have to change that, they're like, they're preferring to wear my AirPods because I don't want big headphones in
headphones and all branded up.
There's little things, and actually then it's like, okay, I'm going into this session, it has to be a certain way, because when I'm creating and I'm just doing it myself, it's up to me, and I'll just do something I enjoy, and that usually shines through and is good anyway. But it's when I have to do it for someone else, and that is a bit different.
Do you still find all of that enjoyable, or is that the kind of side that, as in, it's amazing that you've actually, so check this out, right? So I'm so old, like dinosaur wise, right? I would have killed back in the day to get brand deals by skipping, because I would have been like, oh, this is something I enjoy. I'm really talented. I think I'm talented. And there's a brand who wants to work with me and pay me, hopefully. It was impossible. Like, it's like it's impossible to even get a discount code from a company back in the day. So what you've done is, I feel like, yes, there's other people working with brands, but I think you've taken it to another level. And actually brands are now noticing how cool skipping is, and how powerful it can, and the reach, because you have an amazing reach. So everything come to my point at this whole little spiel, it's like people, you may not even understand you're doing it, but you're actually creating a new market within a market. So brands were only always looking at buff boys, hot chicks, gym, doing pull-ups, doing whatever, like in the gym. And now when they see an ad, off the top of your head, who have you worked with that you really like?
So I've done Adidas.
That sort of stuff is insane, because you would never have seen an Adidas skipping kind of, really, they're using you because of your skills and your look, obviously. But back in the day, they wouldn't. And that was it. They collabed. That was with Next. It was Adidas at Next, but it was both Adidas and Next I was speaking to. But obviously that was really good for them, because that was about sports bras. It's like, perfect got you.
thing, really.
Got you.
That was especially.
So that makes sense.
And I think and obviously nutrition brands as well. There's all of that. I mean, I could do a lot more, to be honest. Are you quite picky on who you choose and all that? It's got to be something I'm passionate about, and I like that. People, I'll always, when I do an ad, there's always someone that will say, you're selling yourself, or whatever. Do you know what? Everyone gets this, man. I've never done any ads, funny enough. Don't get many opportunities. There've been a few emails, but it must be tough. Like, what kind of, what's your kind of values? Like, it's just, what do you look at? It's simply got to be a brand that I would genuinely use. And also, I'm quite particular. Like, brands will want to, like, they'll negotiate. I mean, obviously, it used to be me, and now I've got an agency who has these conversations. But they'll negotiate stuff, and they won't even. I know you do the negotiations, obviously, and find out if it's going to work before perhaps giving me the product. But I'm always like, I need to know that I need to try the product before I sign the dotted line. I'm not gonna. I like that. And it's got to. And if it's got to be something as well that I've used. If it's something that, like protein powder, for example, I've used protein powder before, and I do see the benefits of using it, and there's reasons I use it, and sometimes I go through phases of using it more than others. But in my lifetime, before I would have ever advertised protein brands, I've used them basically. Good. And like that. So I know the benefits, and then the importance to me is obviously taste, texture, everything like that, and does it actually work with all the things? Because there's lots of ways I like to have protein powder, and sometimes I like to have it in oats and things like that. So it's like, if I'm going to try, so I know I would have protein powder, but if it's a new brand to me, I need to try it, and I need to make sure, try it over a week and try it in all the different ways I would enjoy it. Because you get loads of brands. Works. Obviously, social media gets a bad rep. Influencer, the name term influencer gets a bad rep, because people are just obviously promoting things that they don't care about, or they hate, or they don't really use. Yeah.
So it's good that you do that, man.
And there's certain things that just would be far too far away from what I do.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite fun though sometimes to find ways to incorporate it into skipping.
Yeah. And you always find a good way.
Yeah.
To be fair.
But I always try and, you know, make sure I do incorporate the skipping, because I think if I'm going to share it with my followers, I'm still then providing my followers what they're probably there for, which is ultimately they've probably followed me because they enjoy the skipping content.
Exactly.
So
keep it
if
alive
I'm going to
roots.
chuck an ad out there, at least the least I can do is make an effort and do something creative with it.
Yeah. I think, you know what, there's nothing wrong. I always say there's nothing wrong with doing ads. There's only when you can blatantly tell the person doesn't like it or enjoy it or use it.
And I think the problem with me is I think a lot of people, because I don't do them that often, they don't realise I've done them before. So some people will actually comment like, "Oh no, now you're doing this, unfollow." And it's like,
hell, man.
You've obviously not been here long enough, or you've not seen my posts. Like I do them, I just choose not to do them often.
Do you get a lot of hate? Or would you say, do you get what if you do get any bad random comments or like trolls, like what are they going after you about?
It's you know what, it's a lot of body shaming online.
Really?
Yeah, with me. Like I'd say if a post of mine goes viral, it's like people
what kind of stuff are they saying though?
About I'm too skinny,
No.
I've skipped away my hips, I don't have a bum, I've lost my bum from skipping, or you know, people.
I never thought that. I've never come across. I mean, I think I've seen you when you repost or like you reply to like a hate comment. I've never seen anything like that. I think I've seen one which was a really cool clip where someone was like, "I bet you don't do this in baggy clothes or something." Yeah, and that was really cool.
Well, this is the other, and then I get that a lot, and you know.
So, what do you like? Are you? How does that make you feel? Was the question really?
It's, you know what, it actually really depends. It depends on how I'm feeling that day, because sometimes I'm like can laugh it off, and then sometimes for some reason it just gets to you, and sometimes I go on my notifications, and you know, obviously I have so many you have this as well, I'm sure you've got so many videos out there that obviously people are commenting on all sorts of different ones. Sometimes like it's 3 in a row, and it's like the last 3 comments I receive on different posts. Someone's having a dig about, some people say you always do the same thing. I'm sure everyone loves saying that comment. Skipping.
I love that comment.
Or like, you know, it's easy, or like do something, you know, something like that.
Do you find yourself sometimes focusing too much on that comment or energy and not the millions else that are so good?
So what I'm really careful of, because actually I see it as a disservice to my followers who support me so much if I just go into every post and just, because you can literally, you can see you have 200 comments and you can easily just focus on that one.
I've been there.
And obviously because it's just the way it is, and I've just started now, only rarely do sometimes I'm, you know, fall off the wagon and I accidentally comment when I shouldn't. Yeah. But I try, and I always say to myself, if I'm going to respond to that negative one, I have to respond to all the others. So it's and by the time you responded to all the positive ones, you get to a negative one, you don't even care anymore. Yeah, that's a good little tip. And because it's like, if you're going to spend the time responding to the negative one, it's a bit unfair on the 199 people that commented supporting you. Why does the negative one deserve a response? Which I know why it bothers me, and I'm drawn to that negative one. But it is actually, when you actually take a step back and look at it, you're like, that's actually really out of order for me to... all these people supporting me, and they're the ones getting me to where I am now, and I'm going to give my time to the one that's negative. So I'm always like, hold on, I can respond. Like, I'm always like, you can respond, Lauren, if you've really got something to say, but you have to respond to everyone else first.
Do you know what that is? It's just human nature, man. We do appreciate the love. We do see the love. We want to comment back to every single person that gives us support. When you see something that you know is like the most stupidest comment, or damn right untrue, whatever it is, you're like, what is the word? Your brain is like, let me put this person right. Let me fix them up.
And it's just like justification.
And I've learned over the years. I've done things that I probably, when I look back, I'm like, why did I even bother wasting my time, giving them this kind of idiot like a bit of time like that you didn't need, or airtime. I think I'm careful as well. Like, I know I do, obviously, and it creates good content to respond to someone's content, these comments, and
you can create something out of it, which is good. I think I think I'm careful not to do it too often, because obviously you could be like, you're literally giving all your attention to these people.
Yeah.
But every now and then I think it's okay to. And actually, like I did a post once called Whack a Troll, where I had loads of troll comments flying at me, and I was I did a routine where I hit them with my rope throughout the routine. And that was more about actually, like, sometimes I actually think a lot of people like admire my figure, and they would love to have a figure like mine. Then I get some people that are like nasty about it, and there's people out there who are like, my whole thing is actually, it doesn't matter what you look like. People are gonna have something to say about how you look and your figure. So never do it for those people or someone else, because you get it whatever you look like, basically.
You can't impress everyone.
No.
Right. That's just life in general.
I do genuinely believe, look, at the end of the day, we all have opinions, don't we? When you read something or see something, we all have opinions, and we're all human. Our opinions aren't always going to be positive. Yeah. But you wouldn't, if I have a negative opinion or view about something, I wouldn't go out my way to say it and bring that person down, or I don't know.
What would you say to someone that's like on social media and like trying to deal with this? Like, in a couple of sentences, what's the best way to deal with this?
To be honest, like people say you shouldn't delete stuff, but actually the power of just actually delete and block is it's just sometimes easier. Like, if you do that, then you can't do anything. You can't think about how you might reply. You can't. And I think to be honest, how as well, if you do feel compelled to reply, I think try and avoid responding to a negative comment when you haven't even responded to all the positive ones. 'Cause I think people are a bit like that on social media, especially when you get a bit of a following. You can't. It is actually impossible to respond to every comment anyway. Yep. But if you are going to take the time to respond to, how can you sit there and be like, I haven't got time to respond to all comments, but then only respond to the negative ones?
And probably reply with a big ass paragraph, or try and put them
exactly.
straight.
Like, if you're going to say that, then you need to go through responding to the other ones. And by having that mindset, it stopped me, because sometimes I'm like, you know what, I haven't got time. I haven't got time to respond to all the positive ones, so no one's getting a response. Yeah, that's natural. Whereas, I do respond to, and actually it's great, because the followers that do support me have ended up with a response. Yeah. I actually do. When I'm organised, I do actually have a thing where the day after I've shared a post, I'll try and go on and respond to every comment. Get back to every But it is so difficult. I don't do it 100% of the time. I probably do it like 50% of the time. But I'd love to do it every time.
I love that. Good advice. What I really want to know, since you have, like, let's say you exploded, we're just going to use that word, because it's probably like a gradual thing, and it's like really organic and everything like that. Yeah. But let's just say, have you found any community members being a bit different with you, or you're chuckling? What I'm trying to get at, what's the question? The question is just like, when you first started to where you are now, is there any differences you've seen in how people act or treat you?
Yeah, massively. Yeah. There's definitely, I'm certain of one person who was very, very supportive of me. We used to communicate a lot, talked about potential of collab, and they've just stopped commenting or liking any of my posts. Right. And I don't know, look, who knows? Maybe I don't come up on their page. Who knows? Happens. Do you feel that, I do wonder, you have to wonder. And you do wonder, because it just happened. I don't know. Is it
one person in particular, or is it just like a group of people like acting the same?
There's one person that happened. Okay. But then there's also earlier on, actually, more so because I think it's a lot of people are sort of at the less than 100k thing, and I think it was so it was my first year, really. Yeah. I think some people were very supportive of my journey, and I was learning things from them, and that's what the community's about. And I was always supportive of them. And then it was like, as soon as I started going past that, past them, I don't know. I think some people, there's an attitude where I think some people really, really want jump rope to grow, because obviously they're passionate about it, but then they're only happy if they're at the top of it. Yeah. Kind of. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like
Listen, I'll tell you my experience, right? Like, 2015, I started creating content. No business, as in no merch going out, no nothing. 2015, it then took me 2 years before I decided to make a rope or decided to create a brand out of anything. And then it took me almost 4 years to leave my full-time job, right? So imagine you've done this all within a year. Kudos to you and all the journey. In this time period, if you imagine, I've had real hardcore following who have just supported, they've got into skipping, they've come out of depression, they've lost tons of weight, their lives are better. And it was like, in the beginning days, you changed my life. And then the brand comes out, oh, you're so cool, we always wanted ropes, we always wanted merch. They buy, and then it's like we get HQ, we grow, expand, and then some of those same people, followers, people you see on Instagram today, they're silent. And it's not like I don't tend to judge kind of comments. Would say like, okay, this person's not commenting for like 3 months, they're not my friend anymore, but kind of thing. For me, I know there could be some other things, but then when you see them kind of still commenting other people's posts, you can kind of get the drift, or you know what's happening if they unfollow you. And I've had a lot of unfollows with people who were big time supporters, wanting to be athletes, use my stuff. So there is something going on behind the scenes where people who are getting into skipping, especially people who started skipping, didn't have a big account, and actually now they're getting bigger. It's like, maybe they support you up until a point, and then it's just like, okay, we can no longer support you because you're doing a bit too good.
Well,
or you just outgrowing
I don't know what
yourself.
happens. I think some
it's
people,
weird.
they probably, you can, who inspires you to start with, you can change, that can change later on. But someone got you into this. Yeah. And I think you've definitely got a lot of people into it here and now.
I mean, people,
because obviously you search skipping on YouTube, you've got a massive presence on there, especially. And I think it's just, but I think there's obviously this whole other world. There's lots of different styles, isn't there?
Of course.
I think people really struggle to appreciate all the different styles.
Yeah, and that is true.
And not just like there's like as if there's only one way you can do things. It's like with me, it's like even I've changed to an extent. Like I used to do a lot more leg cross. I still do them occasionally, I dabble in it, but even I used to do a lot more leg cross routines and other stuff, and now I tend to just mostly do footwork and doubles and stuff.
I'm looking forward to learning this.
Yeah.
You're going to see how bad my coordination is when it comes to this sort of dancing stuff.
But I think and there's lots of stuff that I see people doing and I'm like, I respect that, but I don't have an interest in learning that.
Of course.
But it's okay. Like I think there's this thing like you can, and also you have a very specific style and that's what you stick to.
Exactly.
And that's fine just because you don't want to do certain things.
I mean, I get people messaging me all the time being like same thing as what you were saying, like it's the same thing, but then other people from the community sometimes trying to correct me even though they don't do my style. So I've got these like couple of people who are pro champions, there's a lot of champions around the world doing skipping. Everyone's a world champion, it seems sometimes, but like they message me and they're like, you should have your rope shorter. I'm like,
this is the thing.
I'm like, look, I know my rope looks long on camera, but if you were to skip in my body and have my style, you wouldn't want to shorten this rope. And you wouldn't, I don't have any problems with my ropes breaking or anything like that and being slow. And
it's why as well, when I shared a rope length post recently, I'm always really careful to, like I put in the caption, if you're happy with your rope length as it is, leave it as it is. Like that's, it wasn't about, it was my experiences with rope length. And it's like, it's not, even world champions actually I've noticed some have more of a wide arm hand position. And that's their style. And it works. Cool. Like there isn't like I think jump rope is very much like dance. It's like there's not you don't have to do things a certain way. You can have your own style and there's ways to be more efficient, but it depends what your goals are. Efficiency might not be relevant to you.
I think the final thing to do is do some Instagram questions. So we're gonna pull up my phone. So today, guys, if you're listening, put out a little Insta post. Let's see what is going on. By the way, oh, you know what?
What?
The story didn't upload, didn't it?
Are you joking?
No, because my Wi-Fi's so shit. It's still here. Look, loading. Questions, anyone? I'll find you some questions.
How quick you'll have a couple coming quite.
Do you know what
quick.
we do? I'll tell you what.
Just give it 5 minutes. If you can get it up now.
It's not even loading.
Oh, is it not? Do you want a hotspot off me?
Your question is from the audience. Where is Lauren Jumps going? What is your goal?
So I've got a huge project I'm working on that's sort of just kicked off
Good.
this year.
Sounds interesting. Sounds secretive.
Yeah, it's secret. I don't really want to say too much yet because it's just so early. But yeah, I think the thing is, I just want jump rope to be accessible. I want people to, when people are learning, I want it to be easy to learn. I want people to have resources where they can learn it easily.
Nice.
I think at the moment it's very much, there are coaches out there, but it's whichever coach you go for, there's a specific order or a specific style that people kind of have to follow and learn. Whereas actually, someone could actually just be wanting to learn to do double unders for CrossFit.
Yep.
So you should be able to go to a resource and be like, right, what do I need to be able to do to do a double under? Well, realistically, all you need to be able to do is a basic bounce.
Gotcha.
If you can do that, you can move on to learning double unders.
Yep.
Whereas you might get a coach who would be like, right, we're going to do side swings next, we're going to do crossovers. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you may...
So like a library at your fingertips kind of thing, yeah?
Yeah. So I want something to be very easy to follow, and so that whatever someone's goal is, they don't have to learn everything, but they can learn lots.
Cool.
And they can sort of track their progress.
That's clear, like that. One more question though from me anyway. Do you think Lauren Jumps as a brand, I mean, I know you got jumps in the name, but do you think you'll ever deviate away from skipping or include something different?
Yes. Well, I'll leave it. I think it's, I think it's sensible to. I think my Instagram will always be Lauren Jumps. Well, actually, who knows? I don't know.
Ever thought about it?
No, not a lot. I've thought about it with this project I'm working on.
Yeah.
And that actually, because I don't know where that'll end up, I actually didn't want to pigeonhole that into jump rope.
Yeah.
So I've picked like a branding and a name for this whole thing that
Wicked.
is not totally jump rope related.
I think if you are going to listen to an old man like me, I think you have the ability to do a lot, not just in skipping, obviously.
Yeah.
But like you said, you do CrossFit, you do gym, you do, loads of different things. So I would, keep that mind open.
So certainly, that is why I think, as I say, with something I'm working on, that is a bit different.
What kind of crazy, silly comments do you get on your platforms?
People do say all sorts. For some reason, none of them are like...
Can we start with men? I want to know, I'm really intrigued to know what men, those kind of like, those kind of comments. Like
people are like,
sliding in the DMs.
Sometimes people are like, are you married?
Yeah.
Or are you in a relationship?
Okay,
and I'm
so they're asking the questions to see if they can get involved.
Are you... Yeah, people have like...
At least they're being polite, right?
People have confidence, don't they? I
guess it's a good... I mean, imagine they didn't care.
Yeah.
Are they sliding the DMs though?
Yeah, all the time. But I get somebody said, I shared an about me actually. I did it on TikTok and YouTube Shorts yesterday. I'm sharing it on Instagram today, but obviously it showed my wedding at the end.
Yeah. And
someone literally commented on YouTube like, "Oh, you're married. Unsubscribe." And it's like, so it's like, I understand, look, people might follow me because they like how I look and stuff, whatever, fine. But so he's got to unsubscribe now because he knows I'm married. Does that has that totally burst the balloon? Or?
I mean, maybe he thought he had a chance from like all the way in Guatemala or wherever they're from following.
It's like, oh, okay.
Maybe there's a chance.
Was he waiting for the perfect time?
So I'm guessing you get a lot of kind of propositions and all that sort of stuff. Have you ever had any like weird pictures being sent to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dick pics, all sorts, yeah.
I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to ask as well.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is actually crazy. What do you do, man? Do you
delete, restrict?
Do you share this? Do you share this sort of stuff with your partner? And be like,
yeah,
have a little laugh,
it's quite funny. Yeah.
How do they all feel about it?
He's chilled. He's good. I think he's obviously secure in our relationship and
good on him.
Yeah, he finds it all funny.
Yeah. Does it? Another question. We're doing this quick fire round. Do you, when you're out and about, people come up to you, and is it like all a weird experience?
Yeah, so that is strange when people recognise me. Obviously, it's happening more and more. Yeah. I mean, it's not like constant. I think it's not like I've been on TV on like a big program or something. So it's not constant, but I especially get it more so on a night out. I think when people have had a few drinks, they're more likely to approach, whereas I think people might recognise me walking around sometimes and just not say hi.
Okay.
Like they'd probably, like that. I think that's what I'd do, to be honest, if I saw someone I knew.
Yeah, it's quite weird too. Where would you say like they spot you the most? Apart from night out, like do you think the gym or on the train?
Not so much in the gym actually, but I'm quite like in the gym. I have my headphones on, and I try not to make eye contact with anyone anyway. Like I've always been like that.
Yeah.
Like, I suppose, like if I'm in like my skipping gear, it's quite funny when I did that Hyde Park meetup.
Oh yeah.
I think it's like people. I look more
got the
like
uniform on.
Lauren Jumps, whereas
little,
if I'm actually in day-to-day stuff, it's like...
Is it quite surreal, like where you're at right now? Like when they come and talk to you, tell you about themselves, how long they've been following, they know like so much about your life.
People get photos and stuff. Actually, it was weird. There was someone, like people often say, are you Lauren Jumps? Or are you that girl who does skipping?
Yeah, you that skipping girl.
I think actually what was weirder was when I was in Hyde Park, some guy just came up to me. He didn't even say... Are you Lauren Jumps? He didn't do anything like that. He was like, can I get a photo, please?
Oh, is it?
And I was like, all right, just gonna jump straight into that, okay. But yeah, it's surreal. Yeah, I'm just a normal person at the end of the day, so it's crazy.
You've shared a lot of your story, and we're thankful. We're thankful for you, skipping community, and everyone else who enjoys this thing so much, man. Last point to finish up on. What would you say has been the best thing about skipping for you? Like, what has it done for you? Quite deep. Think deep about this one, not just like your social media and all that. Like, I really want people to understand how important it is. Well, I say important it is to skip, but like how powerful it can be and the different kind of experiences people have.
I think it's been finding something, and obviously you're lucky because you've known about it much longer. You've known about skipping as in this way longer. Yeah. Finding something that you can do on your own that's enjoyable, that you can do anywhere, that you can learn. There's so much to learn. It's never ending, and there's just it's like an escape, isn't it? And it's such a great hobby. But you don't need a gym membership. You don't need anything. Mm-hmm. You don't need someone else to be able to do it with. So I think, and you can do it anywhere. I think it's like being able to find something that I love so much, I'm so passionate about. And I think like we all get passionate about stuff, but not everyone has, like sometimes you're just in the pub with a mate or something, you're like trying to convince them it's a really good idea. Yeah. And it's like, they're like, okay, whatever. But actually being in a situation where I can influence people to try this thing that's so fun, and they believe it. They believe from watching my videos that it's really enjoyable to the extent where they try it themselves, and then they realise themselves how much it can change their lives and how enjoyable it is for them and how much of an escape it is for them from their problems. So being in that situation, finding that thing for me and also helping others find that thing is the best thing, I think. I
think we'll leave it on there. You're super sick. Top legend here, guys. This is why we had to do this, because your story's been incredible. Born to Fly podcast, people, man. This girl was born to fly, and I've been waiting to say that all day. And there was so much we could have talked about. We've kind of overran anyway what we wanted to do, but we're going to be vlogging. If you're watching, listening, there's going to be a vlog. It's probably already out by the time you watch this or hear it. Go check it out. And Lauren Jumps, what's your title? Everyone can find it, but where can people find you?
Yes, Lauren Jumps on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, basically. Simple,
easy. This girl has got some mad skills. We're going to check it out in a bit. She's going to teach me a few skills. We're going to try and get these feet moving. And
get Rushy doing the Running Man.
Yes. Oh, my God. You haven't seen me dance or anything. I mean, I'm a two-step guy, Lauren. Just a two-step guy. The guy in the corner. One drink in the hand.
There's only 2 steps to the Running Man.
Yeah, we'll work out. We'll see if I can keep up to speed and on the beat. But people, thank you for watching. If you're watching, thank you for listening. You want to say bye?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, man. We're going to come back and do this again. If you liked it, drop a comment and do something nice and get a rope and get skipping, man. All right, guys. Peace out.
Was the knight in shining armor in your movie? Would put your lips on mine and love the aftertaste now.